All right, so on my press now, I've scribed in my thumb line, my cut of my outer sleeve. That's the inner sleeve part. I don't need to do an inner if I don't want to, but I do it just because. I'm going to set my pitches and get to drilling. Now, you probably have been around your pro shop when he's drilling a ball, and it's super noisy. I mean, the shop vacs are extremely loud. Well, my buddy at another shop happened to purchase a shop vac, and it was super quiet, and I couldn't understand why. So I looked in there, and this is as loud as my shop vac gets. I could actually talk to you without it being so bad that I have to yell through everything I'm going through. I do like to use things to help me line up what I want to do. It's just me. You don't have to. Some people will tell you, oh, that's, a waste of time or whatever. Well, again, I want to be accurate. I want to be right on my spots. I'm going to quick test it, just make sure I'm right where I need to be. Perfect. All right, so I also step drill my stuff. I don't use my drill bit to drill the entire way. I think too big of a drill bit creates too much heat, which also in turn is creating possible cracking. So the less you can do to prevent, not cracking, but core swelling, rather, what we don't want. So I will automatically take that out. I drop down to a 63, and I drill down the slug depth with this. So it starts off with a small hole, nice and straight. And then I'm going to step up to 1 1/16 bit, and then go to 1 1/4. So if you think about it, it's 63, 64 bit. That's usually pretty sharp because it doesn't get used a whole lot. Of course, mine gets used a lot because this is how I do it all the time. 1 1/16. How many people have to use 1 1/16? Not a lot. So it's a sharp bit. So again, just following the hole, you don't have to use a lot of pressure to try to drill through it because you're just opening up another hole to another hole to another hole. I have found this works, especially on some other companies' balls. Their core swells super, super fast. See if I can take away some of that noise. And as you can see, it's just kind of slivering away at it. It's not really eating it up. It's not heating it up as much trying to use 1.5 inches. That's a big hole, Pete. That's a pretty big hole. Now, I can go ahead and go down. And again, there's a lot less pressure because I'm not having to pull so hard to drill through it. Makes a straighter hole. Again, you could, if you want to do the 1.5 inch bit the entire way, you go right ahead. But I think it causes a little bit too much of the core to heat up. I take my time. No need to rush. You know what's interesting about this ball? I'm gonna tell you right now. It smells like oranges. It smells like orange peel or orange or something. It's pretty unique. Okay, so there's my hole. Now, here's something that I do that there are shops that are out there that are actually beveling this hole. I don't recommend beveling it. And I also don't like the super sharp hole because that's your crack spot. A sharp edge creates a crack. So what I do is I took an old shaft. Let's see, there we go. I took an old shaft from a dead bevel sander. I took it off and I put on a Burgundy Scotch-Brite. Put that on there, put it up in my press. Then all I have to do is just bring it down and just kind of like lightly kill that sharp edge. Not doing a lot to it, just enough. I also do this a little bit to try to take off some of the heat as well. Suck it out. What is it going to take? You know? All right, so while that's kind of cooling down, I use a barrel sander, and I'm going to rough this up quite a bit. I need somewhere for the glue to hold. I need it to go in and grab. Because you want to try, for one, the Joe Po outer is smaller than the hole, so it's just going to slide in there. So you want it to have a little bit of grab. Okay. I also use a gel glue that has a slower cure time. You could use a vice glue, but you better be quick. I give a generous amount at the top. I do a couple rings down. Now here's the fun part. So when I put this in, I'm going to move this around to get the glue moved around, and then I'm going to slide right down to my spot, push it down, and then I'm going to bring this down for 10-12 seconds. While that's happening, I'm going to wipe my glue tip. I want my glue bottle not to be clogged up. I want it as fresh as I can. So like I said, this glue is a little slower in curing time compared to other ones. The vice glue is like 12 seconds. This is about 30 seconds or so. So I'm going to zero out and cut this down. Yeah, some people try to rush through this stuff, and you don't want to rush through it. Take your time. Be a little more accurate, be less, don't be in such a hurry. All right. Now, at this point right here, I use a Doug Heim tool. I use a Versa tool. This is what 90% of pro shops are going to use. And then you're going to have some that are going to use the John L. span gauge. When you're going to scribe something, you got to remember that the ball's curved. So it's going to curve over and down. It's not going to be straight across. So I'm 3 and 15 and 4. So if you're looking, probably kind of hard to see it. I'll see if you can see it at all. But I know you can't see it. It's dark in color. So the curve of the bowling ball makes that line curve down this way a little bit. Whereas if you took this guy and you went straight across to 3 and 15 and then took your line and drew straight across at that number, you're going to be off by a 32nd. Is it much? No, but you're still off. So that's why I like to use center of the drill bit, 5/8 plus, 5/8 plus. Now, if I wanted to, I could scribe at that spot, right where it's at. And it's actually lower than what we're looking at. It is a 32nd lower. On both measurements, it's going to be lower. It is not at the spot where everybody thinks it's at. It's actually lower. And then there's my line right there for center of my drill bit. Straight down, straight down. So let's see if you can see that in the light. There we go. Okay, so you see what I'm talking about. It curves. That was the pin line straight across at 3 and 15, but it actually slopes down. It curves. So you got to deduct for that. Both sides, you got to deduct for it. If you want to be right where you should be. Hopefully that don't fall. All right. So now I'll set my pitches for it. I use pitches of 5/16 lift, a quarter reverse. I do use lifts, but I also did a performance fit on myself, and I was able to get my axis tilt to 13, which is what Mo Pinnell always said: get your axis tilt to that spot, and you're going to be looking pretty good. All right, so now I'm going to line up my drill bit. Center of the drill bit. Hardest part is here. Remember, each drill bit has two sides to it. All right, so that's set there. So I can show you what I'm talking about, center of the drill bit. Sorry about that. That's what I'm getting at. Center of the drill bit, right there. Now you see this this ghost line right here? That's the grease pencil, sorry. That's the grease pencil line that I made a little bit ago. That's the ghost line. That's what you're seeing right now. So I'm going to drill that, and then I will show you what that ghost line actually hit. So vacuum bits, inch and 1/32 on the top. I'm going to go down so far. 31/32 down to the bottom. Take your time. No need to rush. All right, so I'm going to show you what that ghost line looks like right now. Hopefully you can see it. There it is. Now, what did I tell you earlier about different sizes of the line? So if I would have been inside of that just a touch, so if I would have been, sorry, I'm moving around to try to get tools to show you. If I would have been on this side of the line, my bridge would have been narrower. So that's why I do center of the bridge. So I have a better 1/4 inch bridge. And if it comes out to be just a touch bigger, then so be it. But I'd much rather be a little bit wider than too narrow. All right. Ring finger. I do 7/16 reverse and I go half right. So what it did for me is it made me, when I come out of the ball, this finger spun out there and I pulled here, so I brought my track down. I used to be at like 7 degrees of tilt and was able to bring it down to 10 degrees, or 13 rather, where we want to be at. All right, inch and 1/32, no, 31/32. Right. Okay. This one here. And again, I might be a little more anal about stuff, but you know what? My bowlers like it. They trust my instincts on it. All right. And again, center of the drill bit, right down the tip. Sorry, I know I'm moving around, people. I apologize for that, but I'm trying to show you everything that I can on what I do and why I do it. And I'll show you the ghost line here. In case you're wondering what shop vac I'm using to be so quiet, it's a 12-gallon DeWalt Stealth Technology is what it is. All right, so now I'm going to show you the bridge. Okay, so you can see the ghost line. It's a little over, right? But what's the width of my bridge? Just a little bit bigger than a quarter. So by the time you bevel a little bit and come back to it, you should be okay. But that's what we're looking at. That is my version of, back it out a little bit, my version of 50, 4.5, 25 val, inch and a quarter, 4 over, center of grip. There's my span. And like I told you, the lines are not where they were. They actually come down because they're going to curve around the ball. A ball is curved, so it's going to slope downwards. It is not straight across. So unless your ball driller has already realized that and is making it to the point, and there's my cuts for what I was talking about, inside edge there. That's how I do it. So there you have it. So yeah, I mean, let me go back out here. Again, I appreciate your viewership. I appreciate the like and subscribe. I appreciate you watching. Please feel free to leave me any comments you want, good, bad, or whatever. I'm human. I'm going to make a mistake here and there. It's going to happen. But yeah, that's how I lay out a ball. That's how I'm going to drill a ball. My balls I scribe. I do not scribe another person's ball unless they want me to. Most people, why are you scribing a ball? You know, I want to be a little different. Do I have to? No. I could use an ink pen. I like using an ink pen as well because it's a thin line. I'll use my pencils to get me there to the point. But when I'm making my cuts and all that stuff, I'm using an ink pen because it is a thin line. So thin lines are better to hit, easier to hit. Thick line, if you're on the wrong side of the line, you just now either shortened or lengthened that boulder span. So there you go. Appreciate you watching. Again, if you haven't already, like and subscribe. Don't forget my jerseys. Coolwick.com. Use my code VORTS10. Save 10% on final checkout. Bouldersmart.com for all your boulders needs. And we will see you on the next one. Thanks for watching. Talk to you soon.